Alan could attest to that.
Attesting to that.
We go. Alan.
Wow, it's that time of year. That's it. That's the time of year where we go back and review the whole year and we pick our top 10, as always.
With our guest today, good old Kenny Kessel on the East Coast. Part one of the top 10 albums of 2024. We will also have a part two, because after part one, there's a part two. And then we're going to do a part three. It's going to be the top songs. In part two, Neil Turbin will be joining us.
Nice.
And in part three, guess who's joining us, guys?
I'll let Kenny guess. I know.
I have no idea. If you already got Neil,
Todd Latorre. Who else?
We can't. Yeah, we can't do a top 10 list without Todd. So
we're not allowed, actually.
It's in his contract.
It's in his contract.
Guys, it's been a hell of a year. Probably it's been a while since we had COVID. I mean, 2-3 years of music sort of being pushed down, but now it's just like an explosion of music everywhere. So much great music. Kenny will be joining us today, telling us his top show reviews or performances or concerts, as well as his favorite interview that he did this year on the East Coast, as well as his favorite report.
Oh my gosh. Look at it. Everybody looks so spiffy. We always dress up.
Look at me. I'm wearing gray this year. What? I'm wearing my reshirt.
Right, yeah.
See, and I look a little metalish, right? You got your little tag there. Kenny, like I told you, no jacket, no show today.
See, I found a jacket. I found one.
There you go. Nice t-shirt.
Yes, we look smashing. Jim Harrison, thank you for joining. Alejandro, hello. And this episode will be live audited by your
top 10. The top 10 here on the Metal Voice.
But first, we always start off with the artist community, the passing of some legends in the music world. Alan, James Kotak. He died in January the 9th.
It just seemed like we spoke to him like a couple of months before. It seemed like we interviewed him and everything was on the right path and feeling good. And then it was a shock to all of us. A couple of months later, it seemed like that he passed away. So,
Kenny, did you ever see him play?
With Kingdom Come at the Monsters of Rock.
Wow.
If I'm not mistaken. They were the opening act. Yeah. I think I saw him with the Scorpions too.
Yeah, I saw him a couple of times with the Scorpions. So,
and to Alan's point, we actually interviewed him not too long after his passing, and he looked tired.
No, before his passing, Jim. It'd be hard to interview him after.
I hope you didn't get him afterwards.
Yeah, it would have been a pretty long interview. Kind of quiet.
Before his after.
Yeah, but he's got too many hats. He's wearing too many hats again.
Yeah. All right. Also, February 16th, Greg Fritz Heinz, drummer of
Fritz Heinz.
Heinz.
Saw them open for Triumph back in the day on the Thunder 7 tour, I believe.
Yeah, it was. It was
nice.
Yes, Thunder 7. That's what it was. I was there.
And great seats. I think it was 6 rows from the stage, 5 or 6 rows from the stage. They were great.
I think that does make a difference at a show, though, Alan. If you're a little closer, don't you seem to get a little bit more into it? Yeah.
We just had to stand on our chairs the whole night. That's all.
Yeah.
Oh boy, do I remember that.
Remember that?
30th, Peter Collins, engineer, producer of numerous artists, including the producer of Rush, Queensryche, Suicidal Tendencies, Alice Cooper, Bon Jovi, Gary Moore, died from pancreatic cancer at the age of 73. One of my favorite producers. Just love his work. Jack Russell, August the 7th.
Yeah.
That was sort of like, we kind of saw it coming, but we didn't want it to happen, sort of thingy.
And we tried so hard, Jim? How many times did we try to connect with him and get an interview going? And it was always pushed off, unfortunately. I mean, I would love, speaking of Jack.
He got a great book put out. I think it was released a couple of weeks after his death. I don't think he made it to the book released. Similar to Paul.
And I think I've said this before, that as we're arranging to have an interview with him to speak about the book,
He passed.
In that sort of process, he passed. It was just, and actually the interview was a go, and then it got postponed. It got postponed again, and then he passed. So very sad. Would have loved to talk to him. I think it would have been great. David Ellison from Anvil died from cancer
the
at the age
original.
of 60.
Oh, okay.
The original.
Dave Allison. I heard Dave Ellison. What?
No, Dave Ellison. Dave Allison.
No,
September 30th.
Yeah, I saw Dave perform with Anvil back on the Strength of Steel tour.
Yeah.
I saw them back in Limoges. Definitely, it was the four of them back then. It was a four-piece.
Yeah. I remember seeing Dave too, and of course, October 21st. Shocking but not surprising, I will say. Paul Di'Anno.
No, yeah. Did you ever meet him, Jimmy?
You know what? I've never met him in person.
Wow, I had a crazy night with him at BB King's. Wow, and I'll tell you, yeah, he was a joy to be around. Thank God I had the guy from the Ramones with CJ Ramone with me. Otherwise, I don't think I would have got out of there.
was that New York or Memphis?
Oh.
New York or Memphis, Kenny?
No, New York, 42nd Street.
Paul Di'Anno, a friend of the show.
One of the first interviews.
So many times. Oh yeah.
Yeah, one of our very first interviews back in the day. He was always a delight to speak to.
Yeah.
Lots of animation.
Yeah.
And I was coming up to Montreal this year in June 5th to see him with you guys.
He was scheduled to play in Montreal and eastern part of Canada in May. Or June, May, July, around there. So it was very sad. Would have been after years of interviewing the guy, it would have been such a pleasure to finally meet him in person. A legend. But you know what? He went out the way you wanted to go out, Alan and Kenny.
He definitely did.
He lived life to the fullest. Sad, but that's what it is.
Good man. Rest in peace, Paul.
Yeah, rest in peace. So let's do this, guys. Let's get to it. There will be some tears. There will be some cheers. Right? And here it is. Alan, you asked for it. There she is, Alan. There it is.
I was getting nervous. We didn't have the nut.
This is what it's all about. Every year we bring out the big nut. This is it, Kenny. You're going to come to my house and you're going to touch it. I'm going to let you. I'll bring it out of security, out of the vault, and you'll be able to touch the nut.
Listen, can we take pictures of me touching the nut?
Of course.
Jeez. And I'm there. I'll get in the car now.
There.
I'm 5
There's
hours.
The nut. That's
5 hours out.
Inside the nut. The Academy Awards has that man there. The Oscars, right? The Grammys has that
statuette. Yeah.
But we've got the nut. The legendary nut. Guys, this is what it's all about. Let us begin. This show, part 1, as I mentioned, is 10 to 6. Then we pause. And we're going to do part 2, 5 to 1. And then we pause. Then we're going to do part 3, top 15 songs with Todd Ladari.
Top 15 songs.
Who's going to start with it? Kenny, I'm going to let you start. You're the guest here. Just give us your top report of the year.
Okay, my top report or shout out, not an interview, would have to be Alex Van Halen with the book Brothers and bookends books and stories in New Jersey and Livingston, New Jersey. It was a great night. Thank God Steve Brown was there from Trickster. He kind of was handling Alex that night. Oddly enough, he was there, and Alex wasn't doing much, but he would just sign the book and talk. But I asked Steve for a huge favor, if he would say something quick to my dad. And he did. And he talked about the Dodgers and asked if my dad was from Brooklyn. And it was very nice. And my dad isn't doing too well. And it meant the world to him because he had just asked me a couple of weeks before. He goes, I want you to get back because I stopped running around with the music for a while to take care of him upstate. And he had asked me, everybody shouts out to their mom. Thanks, mom. Thanks, mom. He goes, why don't you do dad once in a while? And literally 3 days later, I hit him off with Alex Van Halen. My brother showed it to him. He called me on the way home and he goes, not only did you do it, you found somebody at least I heard of. He goes, it wasn't some other guys like Richie Scarlett or something. It had to be hands down Alex Van Halen, and I was very surprised what a gentleman he was that night. He really was very nice.
I think your interview lasted longer than the book.
Yeah, I read that in 2 days.
It took me like a day and a half to read the book.
Right? What'd you think, Alan? Honestly, it's his book, but it's 3 other books in one.
Yeah, that's it. I mean,
he quotes Ted Templeman, David Lee Roth, and Stephen Rosen's book constantly. So, I mean, honestly, I didn't mind. I wanted to just shake his hand, and I got to meet a legend.
Yeah. No, it was it's his book and it's his brother, and you can see the bond. That's something that was probably overlooked in a lot of the other books for Van Halen, and the tight-knit bond. Everybody referenced it, but coming from Alex's point of view, you can see really how tight they were and the reasons why they were so tight. So,
yeah, and the other singers, David Lee Roth. And the other singers.
He mentioned Sammy like when he's in Montrose and stuff. He never really actually mentions him. Like he opened up for us once or something. He doesn't really.
Yeah.
The book ends when Dave leaves. So.
And in my opinion, that's kind of when Van Halen ended. But that's another. That's
for another day.
Show. All right.
I used to think like that.
All right, let's get going, guys. Want me to start, Alan, or do you want to start with yours?
You go right ahead, whatever you want, Jim.
Coming in at number 10 for Jimmy. I'm the man with the nut. Come at number 10. Let me find the graphics. Doody-doo-doo. Boop-boop-boop. Bump. And here it is. Number 10. You know what? Here's a guy who has cranking out quality music. I'm wearing his shirt today out of respect for David Rees. Look at that. Non-stop. If he's not doing a solo project, he's working with a band, playing gigs, cranking out music. And who could believe he's in his 60s, his early 60s. Who can believe that his voice still holds up? The quality of the music still holds up. He's still got some tunes left in him, and he's cranking them up. Congratulations, David Rees. Baptized by Fire. More industrial, more on the very heavy side, a lot of down tuning. But you know what? Definitely a great album, a great pick, at least I think. Even though he is a friend of the show. But you know what? Friend or not of the show, you ain't going to get called out like this or praised like this if your album isn't good. The Enemy Is Me. We've Lost the Fight. Twilight of the Gods. No Rest for the Wicked. My Heart Burns, which is probably the best song on the album. But everyone go check it out. That's my pick.
I mean, I'm going to send this in for the vote for the most metal album cover of the year, right? Yes. And great vocals. I mean, perhaps the most aggressive album of 2024. I mean, the songs are really, really heavy. And, from the Pantera groove of We've Lost the Fight, other favorites are Twilight of the Gods, like you said, but I especially liked Archbishop of Anarchy. Yeah. So, and again, the vocals are fantastic, and it's a really, really aggressive album, like you said, Jimmy. I enjoyed it as well.
Kenny, thoughts?
Oh, I have it. His last 4 or 5 solo project, this is definitely heavier than all of them. Yeah, he definitely went like Alan said, more of an industrial. I haven't played it in a while. I think it came out in the spring, right? Was it the spring?
Around there.
Around that time.
Yeah.
Haven't picked it up in a while. Now I'm going to go back and throw it on again.
Put it on right after the show. Alan, what do we got for you? Number 10 for Alan. Let me get his graphic ready. Boom, boom. A companion in a way. A companion in a way.
Circle of Life. Good. You know
what? That wasn't planned, by the way. That wasn't planned, but go ahead.
Whether it be his solo albums, I think Devil Rides Out made my list years ago, back in 2016, or his collaborations, like we said, with Iron Allies, with David Rees. I mean, I just love Herman Frank music. Herman Frank, perhaps I should say. Frank. But I mean, the entire album's great. I was trying to say, okay, what are my faves on this album? Every song is strong. The singer, Gianni Pontillo, sometimes you listen to it, you're like, hey, that sounds like there's got some Bruce Dickensian tones happening there, And the highlights for me are Virtual Sin, Unbelievable World, and Money. I mean, but there's so many, because American Girl, there's just so many great songs on this album. And hats off to Herman. I mean, just no matter what he does, it seems to be quality, and it's right up my alley.
He's the yin to the yang of David Reese. David Reese is sort of like that consistent singer with music over the years, and Herman Frank has been that consistent guitarist with his band over the years, and that's why they have the project together. Kenny, any thoughts?
Yeah, I have that one too. And just like the Reese, it gets into the playlist, and then these things get buried. It's with the CDs. I guess I should start going to downloads more, because I bring a CD player still on the train every morning. It's an old Walkman, and I'm old fashioned.
As it
and
should
that's
be.
how I
As
look
it
at my
should be.
music.
That's the way it should be.
Because I like looking at the booklets, and I might have a question when I'm listening to something. But Victory, like Jimmy, like you said, Herman is the yin to David Reese's yang, and the albums do complement each other. Very good, guys.
So those are number 10. Kenny, tell us about your top interview of the year. I know what it is, but you tell me about it.
I didn't do many this year. I did like Courtney Cox, a couple of them, Raven. The Dead Daisies was a good one in the streets of Manhattan.
Yeah.
But that one was good because John Corabi saw his football idol walk past in the middle of the interview, and the interview got shut down. But never mind. But my number one would have to be Derek Riggs. I tried setting this up for a couple of years. Jimmy knows that, and it finally came to fruition at Hudson Ale Works, a small bar off the Hudson River, and it was a long 2 days, but it was well worth it. And as we knew, there was a little controversy with it and a little bit of a fun with it.
What a great
I felt
guest.
like I was in a James Bond movie. He was really fun. He was fun. Him and his wife, Kim. Thank you again, Derek. You guys were great.
And so people, what they don't really know is it was one interview that was cut in two. The first part being sort of the Iron Maiden era, right? His album covers.
Right.
Part two was the conspiracy theory that actually was only 3 minutes long. Actually, it was originally 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
But I had to cut it down to 3 because I was worried somebody might try to either kill us or sue us. So
yeah, and I tried to crack a couple of jokes and take him off the seriousness of it, but he wasn't having it. He wanted to be. He's serious. So he's a good guy. I got to send him some Jazz Sabbath albums. He was a lot of fun to talk to, but he's heavily into jazz. He does not listen to metal. As far as metal he went was the early Sabbaths. So he doesn't listen to Maiden, by the way.
You know, I know how hard you worked at getting that interview, running around. I got him. We're going to meet this time.
Yeah, it was
people do not understand. People will never understand what it's like chasing artists for interviews. I wouldn't say chasing. Chasing is a bad word. I would say setting up an interview with an artist. Right?
Listen, Courtney Cox was done in the girls' room at Starland Ballroom. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen sometimes on some of these. All I can remember was you saying the background noise. So the tour managers opened the ladies' room, and in we went. And I was like, okay, this is the first time I've ever done an interview in a ladies' room.
and a big flush at the end.
She was great.
Yeah, a great guitarist.
Number 9.
Number 9. Here we go. Going to number 9. I got to get the graphics here, so I'm doing double duty here. Number 9, Jimmy. Here it is. Flotsam and Jetsam. I Am the Weapon. Wow. You know, I think it's been now 4 straight albums. These guys, again, another band that sort of has come back in a sense, firing off on all cylinders. This is their 15th album. Thrash, brutality, relentless with melody. That's all I want to say about this album. You put it on and you can't believe when they have this unique sort of sound, Flotsam and Jetsam. Nobody else sounds like them, and I think it's because it's AK, his vocals. But even the music, well produced. Ken Mary, the drummer, is just, how many arms does this guy have? 5 arms, 6 arms? It's insane. It's insane. The vocals and Michael Gilbert and the rest of the band just firing off on all cylinders. They're back. They're better. After 15 albums, you could still say they're still doing great. Congratulations. Here, actually, I have it right here too. I'll show it. And look at that artwork. Look at that artwork.
Yeah, for me, that's the second best metal cover of the year.
Nice.
And like you said, Jim, are these guys are they getting better? The last releases are stronger than I think the stuff they did earlier in their career. I mean, you've been a fan of theirs forever. Great, A New Kind of Hero, Burned My Bridges, and Beneath the Shadows, and Cold Steel Lights. Those are my top four. But the entire album is strong, like you said. It's all killer and no filler, and I just love that album cover as well. So maybe we'll do a top 10 album covers down the road or something.
Yeah. A New Kind of Hero. I love A New Kind of Hero, actually. Superman. It's all about Superman. Where are you now? Here you are. And Black Wings, the last track on the album. It's a very melancholy thrash song in a way, right? A lot of minor notes there. Go ahead, Kenny.
It's start to finish, great album. Possibly lower on my list, but like you said, Jimmy Saxon, Armored Saint, and a few other bands fall into this slot where the last 4 or 5 albums are getting stronger and better, almost equally as good as the earlier stuff. The Doomsday for the Deceiver. I happen to like this latter day stuff a lot better. I do.
Doomsday will always be the classic, but man, oh man, it's coming. It is just as good.
This is really good, Jimmy.
Yeah. All right, Alan, what's your number 9, Alan?
Going with my power metal choice. I got to slip a power metal group into my top 10 here. I'm going with Brothers of Metal, and it's Fimbulvinter, which means a great winter. Look, if Eilíf's Eyes and All for Metal had an offspring, it would be this group, Brothers of Metal. Ylva Eriksson, well, she's maybe a poor woman's, I can't say poor man's, but poor woman's Britney Slays, coupled with Joachim's Mark Tonello / Lemmy type vocals. It's a nice blend. It's a great listen. It would be easy to dismiss them when you look at their Norse chic costumes, but with songs like Heavy Metal Vikings. But my personal favorites are Rivers of Gold, because any songs with lyrics saying about swimming in a river of ale and mead is for me. But there's more substance here than you might think just looking at them. And other highlights for me are Blood Red Skies and the title track. So, I mean, there's especially for myself, River of Ale. It's really different for them. I've been kind of following them the last 2 releases, but there's something special about this album compared to the other releases. They're a little bit more mature in the songwriting, and the vocals are fantastic. So,
all right, Kenny, any thoughts?
I have never heard of this.
Now you
2 or
do.
3 on this list, and now I do. And now Alan always throws something at me every year that I have to go back and listen to the next day. Now I have 2 or 3 that I have to listen to tomorrow. Plus, go back to the Reese.
I agree with you.
I got a busy day tomorrow.
Yeah. This is.
But I learn a lot from listening to him, and this is something that wasn't on my radar at all.
Yeah, and I don't think it was on a lot of people's radar. And it's cool because it's a little different because you have 2 male singers and 1 female singer. So it creates this other new dynamic in a sense, right?
Well, an 8-piece band also, right? Who ever heard of an 8-piece band singing about Viking metal? So,
and the reality is these guys have been around a long time. How many albums do they have? Like 10, 11 albums?
I think this might be their 3rd, if I remember correctly.
No, Brothers of Metal. No, they've been around, Alan. They've been around.
Okay. All right.
Shame on you. Shame on you.
I'll take word for it.
Shame on you. Maybe 7 albums, maybe somewhere in the middle. Okay. All right. Kenny, tell us about your top, I guess your third favorite show this year. Third favorite show this year. Yeah.
Okay, that's going to be a small show, the Racket that used to be the Highland Ballroom in New York City, the Dead Daisies. Okay. I was sent there to talk to, as soon as I got there at 4:00 in the afternoon that day, they were waiting right outside for me and pulled me right in. So it was funny. They were very nice. I wound up spending around 2 days with them. I did go home, but I went back to the hotel and hung out with them and then interviewed them the next day at the hotel. But the show in itself, they had a couple of local bands open up that I knew, but when they hit the stage, I got to tell you, it was good to see John Corabi back with them. They had a ball of fire. I hope Doug Ulrich is okay. I hope everything went well because I really enjoy that band. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's someone's project. It's, he pays for them to play that. Listen, They're like a brotherhood. I hung out with them. They are really tight. They're all friends. We had a blast with them. It carried on for 2 nights.
Yeah,
I
we
had
were
a lot
lucky
of
to
fun.
catch him here in Montreal last year, and I mean with
What a
Brian
show.
Tichy on drums and the bass player Michael Devlin, I think his name is.
Yes, he was there,
Yeah.
but who'd we have on drums? The guy from Tommy Chufos from Ozzy and Sabbath, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Brian
yeah.
Tichy.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't.
No,
I saw
Tommy.
Brian Tichy.
You saw
You saw
Brian. I
Brian
saw
Tichy.
Tommy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, I mean, there's a great live band. Let's
Great
leave
band.
it at that.
Firing on all. It's good to see him back, John.
Yeah. He's the front man they need for sure. That's in my estimation. So
I didn't mind Glenn on the first album, but then again, I didn't think I don't know. I don't even did they tour with Glenn? I don't know if they did.
I think they
they
did.
did some, but
they
I
must
love
have.
that
I have
album.
a shirt. They must have.
That album's unbelievable. So
that first one, I love Holy Ground. Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Guys, what are we at? 10, 9?
We
You
are
gotta
at
go to
8.
your number 8, Jimmy.
Okay.
We are at 8.
He's consistent. He does
He's
this every
today.
year.
See, I'm
Number
crossing them
8.
off as we go along.
Good. Somebody's keeping track. Impellitteri.
Oh,
War Machine. Whoa.
Mhm.
Heavy metal. It's sort of like heavy metal meets Boston, meets melody, meets neoclassical shredding, and of course, Paul Bostaph drumming. Slayer.
he added him in, yeah.
Wow, man. You know, a lot of people know this band and a lot of people don't know this band. But when you get into this band, they're just sort of like this hidden gem. Like you never, how come I never heard of these guys before? And the shredding, it's not Yngwie. It's more like Yngwie meets Eddie Van Halen. There's more of a melody in his playing than that sort of like that bumblebee nonstop. Yngwie just keeps going and going and going. There's a little more finesse, a little more melody in what Chris Impellitteri does. And Rob Rock, wow, the vocals. He's in his 60s, incredible vocalist. And of course, the rest of the band's great. Hats off to James Pulley and, of course, Paul Bostaph on drums. The song War Machine. Rothschild, hell no, it's not Rothschild that we know from Iron Maiden. It's Rothschild. A great little Vivaldi guitar solo in the middle, power grab, Beware the Hunter, Gone Insane, and Light It Up. So you got a little bit of a good times, heavy metal, rock and roll vibe, as well as a little bit, maybe a touch of social, political nuggets in terms of lyrics or themes in that. So yeah, Super Kingdom is AI. I don't know, guys, what did you think of this album?
Did they just out riot on this album?
Oh,
I don't know about that.
I mean, look, for myself,
shame on you again, Alan. Shame on you twice. Go ahead.
No, but
right too.
For me, Impellitteri was always, historically a little bit on the fringe, like you alluded to earlier, Jim. But man, with these recent solid releases, thanks again, Jimmy, for bringing this to my attention. They're a little bit under the radar for me, so it was a thoroughly enjoyable listen. But I want to know your opinion, like, with these solid releases they've done in the last couple of years, are they set to be a tour de force in the next decade?
You know what the problem is?
I mean, you got Rob Rock, like you said, the vocals, the guitar playing is unbelievable. Songs like you said, Rothschild, Out of My Mind, heavy metal, and What Lies Beneath. Those are my top 3. But I mean, I like Kenny said earlier, you can lump them in with those bands he listed. They're just getting better with age.
And I'm saying, all of them.
They suffer from the Manowar syndrome, where they're massive outside of North America.
Yes.
Especially in Asia. They're huge. Like they'll headline festivals. But when they come to North America, there's this uncertainty. So no promoter is going to book them. I would
no, right. It would be. I remember a sad story. Ross, the boss, talking to me. We're at 30 people, Queens Boulevard, New York, and meanwhile he just got back from Keep It True, 100,000 people. You know what? And he's like, "Well, what are you going to do?" He's in his hometown, 30 people there.
Yeah,
but, that's what it is.
They do really well in Asia. People don't even understand how well they do. They're like, you're talking about stadiums. You're talking. Well,
he's been around a long time, Jimmy Impellitteri. I mean,
Chris, yeah.
Chris, yeah.
I'm Jimmy.
He's been around. I mean, his stand in line. I remember that one with Graham Bonnet,
yes,
but exactly. This is not Graham Bonnet's in Bartelli. Not at all.
Not. No.
No, it's Rock. Still got the
he,
chops, still got the voice.
He added him on a couple of years ago, Rob, and it works out well. What was the last album about the wolf? Right? Wasn't it?
The Nature of the Beast.
A Beast, Nature of the Beast. That was a great album too.
That was probably about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah,
2018, even more than that. Maybe.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, look, hats
Chris,
off to Impellitteri. They deserve it. They deserve a recognition. Yes, it's a little late in the career. Hopefully this will get some more traction in North America. But you know what? They just announced a Japanese tour. I'm sure they're going to do great over there. Go where the money is anyways, right? Go where you're loved.
You got it.
And by the way, Jim, somebody Googled while we've been talking, all Brothers of Metal, there's 3 albums. So
3 albums, so I'm wrong. So shame on me.
Take that back, that shame on me. So you gotta read the press clippings, right, Jim? You gotta read the press clippings.
So shame on you once removed, shame on me once.
Let's go. Number 8.
I'm gonna be quiet.
Where are we going?
Oh, we're going back to Kenny. Does Kenny? We got something more for
Kenny? No, you got 8.
No, it's Alan. It's Alan.
Alan, you're 8.
Let's go, Alan.
Oh, okay. You're number 8. Right. I'm going with this is my prog choice. Got to slip in a prog band in the top 10 here. So I'm going with Turbulence, Binary Dream. It was released in March of this year. They're a Lebanese prog metal. They've been around since 2013. This is a story about a robot used an experiment called binary dreaming, and it's your awakening consciousness. So, it might be the leanings towards jazz or that Middle Eastern influence, but this gives a little bit more unique sound compared to other progressive bands in my estimation. And this year, what I did was whenever I heard a song or if I heard an album that kind of, oh, that's interesting, wow, that's different, I kind of squirreled it away for this list here. So revisiting that list, I was happy to see that Turbulence was on there. I think not only is the musicianship great, the songs are well written, but when they go into that prog aspect of the songs, they have their own unique flavor, and it's something that I would recommend checking out. It's quite different. So,
okay, I agree, man. It's got that Dream Theater, Fate's Warning vibe that's going. Maybe more so in the Dream Theater style, right? I mean, they kind of framed it as Dream Theater-ish, correct?
I would say Dream Theater because they don't do so many side trips. But I mean, if you just listen to some of the, like you said, you can hear the Arabic or Middle Eastern influences on some of the songs, and the songs are, I would say they do as many side trips as Dream Theater. It's more to the point, and the songs are more concise, and there's a flow to it. There's a narrative to it. So again, check it out because I think if you like prog metal, this is a band you'll certainly enjoy. So very well done, very well written and produced. So
Alan's just pulling from every country around the world.
Really?
Kenny, did you get to listen to it?
Very good. No, I knew the name, but I did not know the band at all. I mean, did not know this album. I knew the name from Prog Magazine.
Okay.
Prog Rock.
Kenny, you're up.
So another one from my list. Another one from my list. I am on number 2 of my show.
Yes.
Okay, the second, and it was the Saxon Uriah Heep at Peekskill. And it was, I think, in March last year. This came on one of the earliest shows I saw. And I have never seen Uriah Heep before, and they just blew me away. They really did. Saxon, forget it, they're always good. They could do no wrong to me at live. Their albums lately, but Uriah Heep really won me over. I didn't realize until halfway through the show, the guy playing the keyboards was Adam Wakeman from Ozzy, and it took me a while. I'm like, look, because I said that it's not Phil. He's kind of Phil's an older guy, and this guy was wailing away. I was right in front of the keyboard, so it was nice to talk to him afterwards. And like I said, he just put a Jazz Sabbath album out. If anybody wants to check that out, but Mick Box, Bernie Shaw. Bernie Shaw's been there 17 years or more. I mean, 17 albums or whatever. They were just listing it out while he was on the stage. I mean, they're phenomenal. I do hope they come around again one more time this year for their final farewell tour. I hope they hit North America. Did you guys see them up there?
Uriah Heep, no, but Saxon, of course,
Saxon?
yes.
Oh, they came without him?
I'm not sure they came this year here.
Wait a second, hold on. It was Saxon and no, it wasn't Saxon. You're right.
No, we saw UFO with Saxon.
UFO and Saxon.
Years ago.
That was about 3-4 years ago more.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. He actually opened for. What the heck did he open for? The Judas Priest, or what was it? A few years back.
They might have opened for Priest, Jimmy.
Yeah, I think it is. I think there was with Priest. Yeah,
Hmm.
But not the tour we
You're
saw
right.
2 tours ago, something like that. Yeah, and I think Saxon opened for Priest too a few years back. Right. So yeah, all right. So I guess it's my turn. What number are we on, Kenny?
You are on 7, Jimmy.
All right, thanks. Number 7,
this is no surprise if you've been following the Metal Voice for all these years. You know Jimmy's faves.
Listen, guys.
Do I have to call in when you have Neil on to shout out what numbers you guys are up to or not?
You have to. With me, you have to. Listen, guys. I own every single, well, maybe not every single, but most Krokus albums. Except those first 2 I didn't really like without Mark Storacci.
You're doing 7 or 6. You're doing 7.
I don't know what I'm doing, Alan. What am I on? 7?
You're on 7.
Yeah. So Storacci, Crossfire, solo, his second solo album. Oh my Lord. This is Krokus meets Def Leppard, meets AC/DC, meets the Beatles, meets the Blitz, meets Heart Attack. The voice is in the pocket, folks. The voice is in the pocket. Sure, he's lost those super, super highs, but man, the aggression, the tone, the charisma. Oh man, Mark Storacci is just blowing off.
Storacci.
Screaming Demons, the first track, it's just a throwback to Heart Attack, Krokus, Rock the City, Adrenaline. Maybe this is like the song that Def Leppard never did, but they should have. Thrill and a Kiss, We All Need the Money. Maybe that's an AC/DC flavor. And then at the end, he's got that slow little ballad at the end. It's just, everything about Storacci, I think, is incredible. This guy's in his 70s. He's delivering the goods so maybe Alan is the New Frontiers kind of guy. He's looking for the bands all around the world. I'm kind of like celebrating those guys that just keep it going and keep it going with
the
quality.
Old God.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Keeping up the old God, Jimmy.
Anyways, there you go. Mark Storacci.
Well, again, it's another album with a lot of variation in it. For me, it's just not as strong as Live and Let Live. That's a song album I keep going back to and listening. I'm a big fan of Mr. Storacci ever since I saw the Krokus open for Def Leppard on the Pyromania tour. He's a great frontman, by the way. His voice is still strong. Only Love Can Hurt. I think that's a ballad you were alluding to.
That's the ballad. There it goes.
I
remember, yes.
Like you said, Screaming Demon. And the most honest song for 2024, We All Need the Money. I think those are the highlights for me. So,
if you listen to the back vocals, it's it's got that little AC/DC sort of Thunderstruck era sort of back vocals. We All Need the Money again, the Thunderstruck or the Razor's Edge era. But wow, man, this guy just the consistency. This is an 80s album, a lot of reverb, big album. Where his first album was more dry. I did like it, but I think this one's better. Kenny, did you listen to it?
I listened to it once straight through, only once. I got it like 2 weeks ago. With oddly enough, with the Imperatelli. It came at the same time, all from Frontiers.
Yeah, wow.
But I think it's more Krokusy than his last solo album. He brought a little bit more of the bounce to it again.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So, and again, he was one of the first interviews we ever did, Jimmy, on the Metal Voice years ago, wow. And it was like, oh, the lighting wasn't good. You don't release it because he looks old and the lighting's bad. But what a great interview! We were lucky enough to interview him on a few occasions, and he's always a pleasure. Just a great guy.
Kenny, this is the story I tell everybody about Storacci. I taught him how to use Skype because he didn't know, because Skype was all brand new back then. Heck, Alan didn't even know how to use Skype. I taught Storacci how to use Skype to do the interview.
Like me with the Zoom? Like you did me with the Zoom?
Hold on. That was years ago. You're going back maybe more than a decade. And then as Zoom became the new app that we're using now, I taught him how to use Zoom. Like I taught you how to use Zoom.
And as I'm sideways.
Yes. All right. What are we at, Alan? What do you got on yours? Number 7,
I'll
number
do my
6,
number
5? I
7.
don't know what the heck we're at.
Alan's on
I'm going
number
to
7.
number 7.
Do you know why I don't know what's going on? It's because I'm too busy directing the images. That's why.
Yeah, we figured it out. That and the fact that you changed your list 60 times. So
Yes,
you did change it.
I didn't get the latest. It looks like so. So my number 7. Here's one that was released really in January of 2024, and again, it's one that I kept listening to throughout the year. It's Russell Gunn's Medusa. And, great guitar solos and the vocals. Of course, this is a fitting tribute to Jack Russell. This is the last studio recording of his career. And what a great way to kind of go out on a high and end his career. I think he retired after this album and then unfortunately passed away. But, the album opener, Next in Line, it kind of sets the tone for the whole album. For You, the song For You would not be out of place on a Choir Boys album. Slow burn of Living a Lie and the 80s sound of Back Into Your Arms Again. His voice, and especially Tracy Gunn's guitar work on this. He's done so many collaborations, but this is one for me that really stands out. And like I said, I kept going back to it throughout the whole year and listening to it. I couldn't get enough of it. So hats off to Jack and Tracy on what I think is a great album, Medusa.
I agree with you, Alan. Jack Russell, he never lost his tone. He never lost that melody in his voice. There's just something special about his voice. And complement that with Tracy Gunn and his guitar work. I agree with you, man. Probably a good way to sort of, say goodbye in a sense, right? So, Kenny?
Actually didn't really care for it when I first was listening to it when it came out. I don't know whether it was a Tracy Gunn's Overload, because it seems like Frontiers is popping something out with him.
Yeah.
But honestly, I had to go back. Oh, yep, there you go. And then the Sunbomb, but Sunbomb I actually like, but I don't know what it was. But after Jack died, it was the album the CD that I could find, and I put it on a lot, and I listened to it and I heard it in a different way, and it was kind of weird. Maybe because he passed away and I was getting sentimental or whatever, but I really enjoyed it the second go around. And sometimes you have to go back to an album, like you said, that came out in January.
Yeah.
So they get sometimes the earlier albums CDs get buried up in that room.
Yeah. Agreed. All right, Kenny.
My number one.
Wait up, hold on a second. Let me get your images ready here. Hold on. Okie dokie.
He's a man of many hats, Mr. Jimmy K.
Yes.
First, the Walnut. Kenny, this is your top show.
There you go.
If we had multiple walnuts to give everyone, we give this group a walnut. Maybe one day we will, Alan, when we have a budget.
Get mini nuts made up, Jimmy.
Mini nuts. I had keychains, but I made a keychain, but it was just too damn expensive. So you know what?
Grocery stores should have nuts.
Go get some walnuts and mail them out.
Yeah, that's all we have to do. We don't have to go and.
Then Agriculture Canada will chase us. Okay, here we go.
All right, my number one show. I was out of it for a while. I was upstate, like I said, taking care of my dad when you guys talked me into going to see Tim Ripper Owens and KK's Priest the second time around. Not that I didn't enjoy them the first time around. I had a colitis attack the first time around during their show, and it wasn't fun. Yeah, but Jack Frost helped me and got me to a bathroom and everything. But long story short, the second time around was great. I had front row seats. Thank you, Mike Beretta. Tim, thank you, Rob Festa, for really hooking me up. And Jimmy, you too. It all came together, and what a show. Except just came out and killed. Mark noticed my Met hat and came right over and gave me a pound and was singing. They throw me off with all the guys on the stage. I think they need two guitarists. I don't know if they need that third guy. It's not.
I think they need a fourth. I think they need a fourth, Kenny.
It's not Leonard Skinner, It's all right, and they're getting less and less accept, and Udo's getting more accept. So who knows what to say? But then they added some different songs around the second time around. KK's Priest. what was Beyond the Realms of Death? And they really swapped some songs out. Sinner.
Sinner.
They put
Yeah.
Sinner in.
Oh,
And
yeah.
wow. But yeah, that was the one that brought me back, wanting to go to shows again, really. And I got to thank you, Tim, for that. And you got me back in the swing. Number one show, KK's Priest, except.
Man, we had a good time. We
had a great time.
Yeah.
We had a great time at that show. It was a great show, like you said. Thanks to Tim. Wow. We got to meet Mark after the show as well, and
Mark's a good guy.
Just a great double header. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Mark's a good guy, union guy. Still has his union card. I talked to him.
One thing about
electrician
Mark,
by trade.
Yes, he is.
All the band, they're all great. But, Mark and Tim are especially great because they really take the time to talk to you. And, we have a nice, decent chat. Tim did say, Kenny, I can't wait to see him in New York. So, hats off.
No, he did. You're right. And you called me and told me he was going to do that. And he did. I was right on the list. And I mean, I had my own tickets, but he really took care of us. He made it a special night, I got to say.
You know what? We love Tim. Tim loves us. We've been
getting eye contact from the stage as he's singing, though, Jimmy.
From the get-go. From the get-go. And he knows it. And, he appreciates that. And we appreciate him. So, Tim, thank you very much. Mark Tornillo. Alan, how many years has it been?
Mark.
Oh, my God.
Another good guy.
I mean, what a real gentleman. He was a super nice guy. He always takes the time for the fans. And, he's just walking to the bus outside. He was accosted by about 30 or 40 people. And
selfie.
He took the time to do it. And, I think it was his managers. Hey, we really got to get going here. So luckily we ran into him after the show down in the bowels of the theater and got to talk to him a little bit. So along with, of course, Tim and the guys in the KK Priest. So
10 years prior, we did an interview with Mark Tornillo and Peter Baltes.
Oh, wow.
That's before we had smartphones.
Yeah.
Right.
That's when
you used to bring the
lights and everything. Camera, lights, stands, like a moving company.
And we had a great time with them, just shooting before and after. It's great. Thank you very much, guys. All right, let's get to it. Kenny, what
I just want to call out, Jim, just one thing for shows. One of the ones that stood out for me this year was Armored Saint and Queensryche, where Queensryche played The Warning in its entirety.
Yeah.
I mean, I brought friends to that show and they didn't know anything about that album, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Well, Todd can look at it, listen to the voice, and say, yeah, it's an album that we all still listen to. The Warning. I mean. And of course, Armored Saint, oh my gosh, ultimate pros. And
even the second time around with Wasp.
They just came back with Wasp, yeah.
And they're even hitting it harder with they were just on fire. It's like you thought they did great last time, but this time was even more spectacular.
So I caught Armored Saint twice. Never saw them in my life. Caught them twice in the same year. So.
Oh, wow. Great band. Great band. Like I said, they just keep getting better. I can't wait to see one of my first shows this year is, well, maybe it's not first, it's in March, is going to be Category 7 with John Bush. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to see how that goes.
One of my favorite interviews of all time are Joey Vera and John Bush with that Queensryche tour. I had a lot of fun. It was a laugh fest. So really enjoyed talking to those guys.
John Bush was my first shout out and back at a chance for the Metal Voice.
There you go. A lot of love. And you know what? I got to say this, and we'll say this with Neil. When Neil was I don't know where Neil was. They took a picture of Neil and John Bush together, which is, the two Anthrax singers. They were just missing Joey Belladonna. Like, I don't remember. I think it was a few years back and Neil interviewed John Bush, which was even cooler. If you go back at the YouTube videos, there's a clip there. Anyways, let's get at it.
Number 6, guys.
Number 6. This is the last one for part 1 of the show. Okay, this is mine. Alan, we interviewed this guy. It was a highlight for me.
Yeah, I know. I'll let you go first.
Going, when I was a tweenie. Is that what you're called when you're 12E, tweenie, 80, 90? I don't know what it is. Ace Frehley, 10,000 volts. Wow. What a friggin' comeback of an album. Puts Paul to shame. Puts Gene to shame. Puts the last 2 Kiss albums to shame. The last 5 Kiss albums to shame. songs like 10,000 Volts, Walking on the Moon, Cherry Medicine, Back into My Arms, Fighting for Your Life, Up in the Sky, Stratosphere. All of these songs I just mentioned could have been big FM and AM hits back in the day. You know, he got his sloppy guitar solos, his quirky vocals, but there's something special about an Ace Frehley song. Every Kiss album back in the day used to have one cool Ace song. This album is sort of like a bunch of cool Ace songs on one album. Big thanks to Trickster's Steve Brown.
Steve Brown did that.
Steve Brown just like friggin' harnessed that Ace Frehley energy, and he captured it in a CD album, whatever you want to call it. So great album. Glad it made my number 6.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Even though, you know, whether Ace likes to admit it or not, Steve Brown was a big part of that album, probably leading to his most consistent album he's ever released, I think. I enjoyed the entire album. I mean, certainly it was the most spaced out interview we've ever done. Ace was coming up with some stuff that we're like, that's not true. That's not true. But Jimmy was like a kid in a candy store. This is his idol. This is his. So we just let it ride, man. How often you get to talk to a member of Kiss, right? And Jimmy's it was in his glory. So this is his favorite band of all time growing up. So hey, let's just ride the wave and listen to Cherry Medicine, the title track, Back into My Arms Again. But like you said, Jerry, every song in this album is a home run. So.
Kenny had the privilege of hunting down the in-store of Ace Frehley. A little report.
I covered the album release that day.
We forgot about that one. We forgot about that one.
Kenny, Cold Saturday.
You followed him from the limo right in.
Yes, I did. Little help from John there, John Astronomy. He helped a lot with that, and he also was trying to get us backstage a couple of times, but all that fell through because that album was written because Ace was in a great mood. He was in a relationship, and Steve Brown had a lot to do with it. And you can see he is a big Kiss fan, a big Ace Frehley fan. And that's what makes it so special, because I think that's why that whole album came together. You had somebody that really cared about what was coming out.
Very well said. Yeah.
Yeah. But that was
a great sounding album.
It really is. It really is. This 10,000 Volts, I still play it all the time. What a good album.
No, actually, it's right here. This is my second copy. By mistake, they sent me 2, I think.
What, you wore out the first one, or?
He did.
There it is, 10,000 Volts. Yeah.
Great album.
Yeah, great album. Listen, there's nothing more I can say about what I just said. It's all I can say. Wow. All the best of Ace is right here.
Thanks again, Steve. Good job, bud.
Yeah.
All right, Alan. Alan, are you ready for yours?
Number 6, Alan.
So over the years, we've had this unwritten rule for the top 10 list. There's no compilations, no best of, no greatest hits, no live albums. And that falls apart this year. I'm breaking all the rules. Written or
Alan,
unwritten.
Wait, hold on a second. Wait.
What's he doing?
I'm going back to the scribes.
Uh-oh.
Scratching
He's going back to the rules. The original
rules that we
I
never wrote, Alan. No, we never wrote.
That's right.
That we never wrote.
Tear up that rule book. Tear it up, Jim. Tear up that rule book.
The rule was, it was an unwritten rule that we cannot have greatest hits on a top 10 album. Right, Alan? Shame on you twice, Alan. Shame on you twice.
No, this album is too damn good not to make a list. So I'm going. Are you ready, or I just say it, or did you pop up the visuals, or?
That I just,
I'm going with the Treu, the Pronoia sessions. Pronoia session. Sorry.
Porno sessions.
I mean, it came out on October 25th. 8 hits and two covers. I can't stop listening to it. I keep putting on basically every day. I've been listening to it. Tom Petty's Last Dance with Mary Jane's a bit of an odd choice, but then right in their wheelhouse, they do Like a Stone, Audio Slave, and that's right in their wheelhouse. I mean, it's just such a strong album, so well done. And for me, it's a band I've never really paid too much attention to. So to have my first exposure to them being this, holy cow, the vocals are amazing, and the feel and the vibe, and it's all kind of a little dark and uplifting at the same time. And it just, what an album. I mean, this is a band I'll be checking out moving forward. So I apologize for not knowing about them earlier or enjoying them earlier, but this album for me definitely did it. So I'm happy to break the rules and put this on as number 6, my choice of number 6 here.
You know what the metal voice number 1 rule is, Kenny?
What's the number 1? There are no
rules.
Well, in that case, let's throw some live albums in.
You know what? We'll just let it go this time, Alan. Just this time, because I wasn't unaware of this. It's an unspoken rule. I should throw this out to everybody.
I gave you the list 3 weeks ago. Today, at like 2 hours before the show, he goes, this is the best of.
Hey, listen, I got the list 20 minutes ago on the train on the way on the way home. So.
I can't do everything.
Which list? Which version?
Like, I didn't listen to any of these.
And you still didn't get the right version.
Anyways, we'll let it go this time.
Here we go. 10 to 6.
The rule, we got to write it down for next year. Got to have the rules. That's it. That's it.
Listen,
Number 6.
There's been some strong contenders. I agree, Jim.
Number 6.
There's some strong contenders in the past, like Udo's
next year, if Judas Priest has a greatest hits album, I'll put that as my number 1 album.
That's the number or
That's
live
cheating.
album.
That's cheating.
They're reinventing all these songs. It's done in a completely different manner, and I'm sticking by my choice. And you're not going to bully me into changing it, Jimmy K.
So Jimmy, let's say my number 1 album was Tigers of Pantine, Live Blood. I'd be thrown off.
You'd be thrown off. I'd
be
remove you right from.
He's gone. He's gone. Okay,
we're letting this go because I was unaware. I was looking at the rule book only to realize there were no rules.
There are no rules.
There are no rules. So I realized, okay, we'll put it in for next year.
Okay, let's give Kenny his one choice there for album of the year. Let him go with the album of the year.
All right, I'll go with a couple, just really quick, and in no particular order. Moog's Motel, definitely. It's wow. I think Phil outdid himself. He's got Tony Newton from KK's Priest on bass.
Yeah.
He's got Neil Carter playing rhythm guitar.
Yeah.
It's a good, solid album. Sonic Universe, Mike Orlando, who I'm sorry just lost his father today. I am very sorry, Mike. He did this. He also did Sonic Universe with Corey Glover. Me and Jimmy loved it when it first came out. I remember we did a piece with Corey in the car, if I'm not mistaken. And Bruce Dickinson, I have to go with it. I'm leaving Priest out, but Dickinson's my third. It is Mandrake Project, definitely. That's it, guys. I'm not going to bury you with a lot of stuff, and I can't get my live album on there. So, can I promote Jax, the singer's new single he just sent me today in the mail? There you go.
There you go.
All right. There you go. In a nutshell, Moog's Motel.
That was
everybody tune in, right, for part 2.
Part 2 with Neil Turbin.
With Neil
and
Turbin.
I will be texting you in to tell you guys where you are every 2 albums. I will say you're at number 4. Have a great night, everybody. This was a lot of fun. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.